Okay, let's try this again. My settings weren't right or something a while ago. Let me see if I can get some people in here and get started. Been a busy morning. Oh, let me give me some refreshments here. See if I can get anybody to jump in here. Everybody's back. Everybody's back hard work at work probably. It's been a. Let me see if we can get somebody to jump in. There we go. We're getting a couple coming in. Just sitting back here, relaxing a little bit as I try to explain the situation. I've had, whoops, there's more notifications coming in. There's some popping in, popping out. Hey, Sarge. Glad to see you in there. Yeah, let me get myself resituated here a little bit. Had a rough morning, rough night and everything. We're dealing with the aftermath of that storm Florence and everything. I've got one driver that goes to Lumberton, North Carolina each night, and that one had to be changed up completely because of the fact that Lumberton's under a foot of water or a couple of feet of water, and the roads are impassable there. So we diverted to Conway, South Carolina, and then unfortunately a lot of the roads were messed up going to Conway. So it's been a fit. Been a fit. How's your F-350 coming along? I noticed you were talking a while ago with JC and saying that you already got about 16,000 miles on it. I don't think we've got quite that much on our F1. I had to check back with Landon. Landon drives that other F-150 we got. He's getting about 28 miles a gallon with his. Of course, it's the smaller F-150. And if you're getting, good mileage and everything on yours, that'd be great. I hope yours is doing a good job for you. I know you're at the quandary right now where you go, oh gosh, I got this. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Now you're doing hot shot work. Now I think I tried to ask you earlier today. Now, do you have just a regular truck bed on it, or do you have a? I had a friend that had a hot shot, and he had of course, I think his was a 550 or 450, and he put a flat bed so he could pivot, real tight and everything on his. But it, I see it different ways out there. Some with the dualies with the regular truck bed on it, and I see some with the truck and chassis and everything else. Because that usually rides rubber as just a chassis and the truck bed and everything. So there's all kinds of different hot shot versions out there. Yeah, I know it. And you got the standard bed. Okay. Yeah, I recognize bead bed. Yeah, the old spell check will get a hold of you every time. I know it'll get you. Yeah, I just was chatting with JC just a few minutes ago. He's at a sale. He shot me a picture of some service trucks and everything he's buying. JC's back at it hard and heavy. Looks like he's doing good. He's a man to admire. I mean, I like JC. He's got a lot. He's got a lot of spunk about himself to get out there and do all that and be independent like he is, and that takes something. Well, hey, truck driving lady, how is it down toward Macon and everything? Are you out running this morning? Or are you enjoying the lifestyle at Macon, Georgia? It's a pretty day up here again today in Cherryville. It's amazing how the storms can be so violent looking and everything. And then a day or so after the storm, the skies open up and it's some of the prettiest skies you'll ever see, it looks like. Are you still trying? Yeah, yeah. You're still trying to save up for a good trailer. Yeah. Now, now are you, what are you hauling mainly? You hauling cars, Sarge, or are you hauling just equipment or whatever? I know there's a lot of hotshot guys run out and they'll haul like bobcats and small equipment. My brother-in-law picked up a a skid steer off of Iron Planet, and he had it shipped in through a hot shot. I believe he got it out of Texas or somewhere one time, Texas or Kansas or something like that, and had it shipped in. And it came in hot shot. Boats and trailers, power units. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the hot shot business has always intrigued me. I know it's probably a good business, but it to me it's almost I guess I've always wanted the stability of a regular routes, regular runs, and that sort of stuff, and I've kind of tended to go with that most of my life. I've run extra board on a few things, but I've never been over anxious to do that. Uh, when you're young, you can do it and feel pretty good about it. When you get the older you get, at my age especially, you well, that's what I'm after. I'm after stability. I mean, it's tough for me to, like I said, my age to want to get out and travel like that. I don't mind traveling. I like traveling fine, but when it comes to maintaining a business, I mean, I want stability. I want consistency in my check every week. When my settlement check comes in, I want it to be the same as last week's if I can, unless it gets better. That's the only change I would like to see them is when they get better. But to see them go up and down and up and down, it can really drive you crazy because everybody's bills are at a stable amount. Everybody's bills are usually, you're usually your house payment stays the same, your car payment stays the same. If you've been through two or three wives, your child support stays the same or whatever. Yeah, that's what I'd like to keep the same. Thank goodness, uh, I've been very fortunate. I've been married to the same. Hey, Brian, how are you doing? Yeah, yeah. It's I like that stability in my life too. Well, here, hold on one second. Hello. Hey. Uh, I would say, well, considering the merge down and everything else, I mean, it wants what we are at today, doesn't it? Right? Or is it more than what we were prior? It's got to be somewhere uh, one point. I'd say 1.5, 1.6. Well, Kinko is still viable as for the fact that, yeah. Well, just say 400, 400 to 500. Well, just bump it on up there, in proportion to what it's got. I mean, how many has it got? 8, 16, 15, 16. Well, I mean, just do the multiples on it. That's what I would do. I would put it up there at least 3 or 4. Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. Do the comparison to what you did last year with Napa. Okay. 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 Well, you know how to use it. Yeah, and MSJ go up. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, at least 5 or 8 or something like that. Yeah. Right. That's what I would do. All right. All right. I'll catch you later. See you. Sorry about that, guys. I had to actually. You're hearing one conversation uh, of some financial things that my wife and I were dealing with on some stuff. Uh, I got to keep the old business rolling, even though I try to do these live interviews. I hope it's not too distracting for y'all when I actually have some real phone calls come in like that. It's been an issue trying to get all my drivers back in, like I said, from the storm. I had my last one that got in about 35, 40 minutes ago. He got diverted over to down below Florence, South Carolina. In other words, down below. He had to go almost to Myrtle Beach. He had to go to Conway, and the roads were all messed up down there, and it's just a mess. Lumberton is completely underwater, so we can't even get into Lumberton. So that was our situation there. But it is what it is on these things. I like the trucking business. I like the stability, like I was saying earlier, of the steady runs, and I like the fact that you can count on that. Just like anybody's, it's like a paycheck at that point. I mean, we have issues that we have to deal with. That some people, it's hard for people to deal with issues, and that's the part of the trucking business that you really got to get used to. Sorry, another phone call here. Hello. I have no idea. Well, it's that and more as far as goodwill. I would say close to two, wouldn't you? Inventory are 175. Okay, I would say that. All right, right, right. I would say that or more, really. But the way they value everything, I mean, because that's fine. We'll be yes, yeah, you can. I mean, unless they're you know, you know, right. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, of course, you got that sale money that came in that is what 200. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. Yeah, right. Well, yeah. Just go ahead and list that. That would be fine. Right. You make a good guess. I don't know. I don't know either. Just 40. Yeah. All right. All right. Yeah. Well, don't worry about it. Just go ahead and put it in there. And if there's any, I mean, there's any question, we'll deal with it then. Yeah. Yeah. That'll be fine. That'll be fine. All right. All right. See ya. Sorry, guys. And I know it makes no sense. You're only hearing half of a conversation. But the trucking business gets like that. Sometimes you don't hear but half the conversation, and sometimes I'd like to hear none of the conversation. But we've been very busy with the phones and been very busy trying to get everything going. Hey, Lakeside, glad to see you in here. I thought I had you as a moderator. I'm gonna change that right now. Yeah, we'll do that right now. I got Lakeside in there as a moderator. I need to put truck driving lady in there too. She jumps in here a good bit. That way I like to see the blue wrenches on the screen. That way I know I've got the same good old group coming in every time. But getting back to all this, the storm damage, like I said, has wreaked havoc on a lot of things, and I like to be able to handle as much of this as we can, because there's a lot of people. I didn't realize they jumped the death toll up to I think they jumped the death toll up to 35 people now. There's a lot of people that's suffering out there. The storm wasn't a huge storm as far as wind damage and everything, but the rain was just humongous. I mean, we've got a flood. The eastern part of the United States is a big lake right now. I mean, it is a huge lake. If you were to see the aerial view of it, I know a lot of you have, and it's hard to understand the scope of the landscape that you're seeing when you actually know the landscape, and then you see an aerial view of the landscape. It just blows your mind, because I mean they're showing you some of these wide shots and you go, oh, that looks like a big pond. Well, no, that might be thousands of acres of land. I mean, thousands. When they get up there up high, they're sometimes showing thousands of acres of land at one time, and it's something else. So it's something. And there is a lot of disaster in the eastern part of North Carolina, the upper part of South Carolina, but more North Carolina got hit the hardest, I think. Oh yeah, and that's what you're getting the effects of that storm coming up to Massachusetts right now, and that's you're getting the tail end of that storm that's still pumping out from the Atlantic and everything else. It's been a monster of a storm. It's been more of a storm than people realized. I got a little spot on my screen. I don't know if y'all have ever had that happen. I got a little spot, and as I look at it, I keep thinking something's on my. I kept thinking something was on my lip, and I said, "Well, no, that's a spot on my screen there." But yeah, that storm is wreaking havoc. It's sort of ironic in a way, because they made it up to be a huge storm, which it was. It wasn't the wind damage storm that they were expecting, which I'm thankful of, because had we had the coastal flooding and the wind damage that they were initially expecting, you're talking about one of the worst storms that would have ever hit. Yeah, you're going to be getting the effects of that storm real soon. 90% humidity right now, but yeah, it's going to hit you. But I'm thankful for the state of North Carolina that we did not get the wind damage that's associated with so many of these storms. It was pretty windy down on the coast. I mean, it wasn't as damaging, and had it been as damaging as as some of the other storms have been, we would have had a monster of a cleanup right now. I mean, a monster of a cleanup, because it would have been in the effects of Katrina. Because, when you think about all the low-lying areas on the coast, and you think how flat the ground is, it doesn't take much to swell those big rivers down there, and for the levees to break and the dams to break and all that. So that's what you're up against down there. It's a mess. It really is. And my driver that went down there last night, he came back this morning, and I felt so sorry for him, because he was totally sapped. He was totally wore out this morning. He had been on shift. He'd been on his 16 hours. That's a maximum that you can go even under storm conditions. He'd been out there 14 or 16. It's 16 because he was able to take his load time and his off time as they were unloading him and combine all that. And then he had his 11 hours. He had his 11 hours maximum driving, and under the worst conditions you possibly could get too, or some of the worst conditions. I mean, it was terrible trying to get him back, but we got him back safe and sound. And now we go on to another day. That's the way the old trucking business is. You go on to another day, you pick yourself up, you say, what disasters, what things are we going to have to deal with today? And today's situation for me started off like that. Then I had to rotate some drivers around. Then I had one driver who had a brother that passed away, so I'm having to deal with that. So the trucking business in itself is tough because you're 3 feet from the top of the walls. Wow. 6 to 8 feet, 6 to 8 inches. Okay. Before it's over. Okay. Well, that's, as long as it doesn't get the problem we've had down here, we're measuring in feet instead of inches. I mean, these flood states down here are terrible. I mean, you're seeing some of these rivers down here rise enough. I mean, you can imagine if the water level's way down here and then it rises enough that it would, in other words, if your house was down on water level and it's risen enough to cover up your complete house, basically. That's how quickly and how heavy some of these have gone. And you can imagine the banks of the river are only so deep or only so sloped, and then after it gets so much, it's spilling over. It's spilling over to everything else. And when you see some of these rivers, and you on a normal day, you look down, and say if you're on a bridge and you look down and this looks like it's 30 or 40 feet down to the water level, and then you see that lake, you see that river under this flood state, and that water is slapping the bottom of the bridge or going over the bridge a little bit. That's a remarkable amount of water, and that's what you've got in eastern North Carolina right now. Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing. I live on a farm too, lakeside, and we've got about a 5-acre pond in our backyard, and it has risen higher than it's been in years. We had the dam to break about, let's see, last time the dam broke, my daughter was 6 months old, and she will be 48 her birthday. So about 47 years ago, our dam broke on our pond, and we had to rebuild it and everything. And it was a mess, but we got it and got it rebuilt, and was able. We actually we drained. That's the last time that we've drained it, and we restocked the pond. So our pond has been restocked. Somebody asked me the other day, said, "How old do you reckon those fish are?" And I said, "I don't know. The last time we restocked it was 47 years ago." So we got some big old bass in our pond. I can tell you that. I guess some old timers. I guess if they've lived, I don't know how long a bass lives. We got some largemouth in there. We had one that a boy caught, and I think it was about 7 pounds or something like that, 7 or 8 pounds. It was a huge thing. He held it up, and it went. To me, it looked like the darn thing was 2.5 foot long. 2.5, big old largemouth bass. I'm not a fisherman, so don't adhere to these sizes I'm giving you. So I'm not trying to tell a white lie about the size of the fish. I'm just stating that it was pretty darn big, and I don't know. I know it was a huge fish when we took. If I had a picture of it, I used to have a picture of that fish that boy caught, but it was something. Well, guys, I tell you, I've enjoyed talking to you this morning. I've only had a few in here, but I've enjoyed the few that jumped in. I'm gonna get off because I've got to get some work done, and I'll check back from time to time. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to me ramble on and chat, and y'all. I like y'all's comments and everything else that jump in here. Uh, yeah. Hey, Brian, you're still in here? Okay. Yeah. Doug's telling me about the looks like the storm has gone from south up to him up north. Doug put a real pretty picture out the other day. My wife, I showed her the picture of all that. Yeah, I'll do it, Doug. And y'all take care. Y'all take care, and just check in with me later. I'll try to jump on here later on and see if y'all guys are out and interested on what I'm trying to talk about. We'll see you around.